अस्सलाम वालेकुम डियर स्टूडेंट्स। आज के वीडियो में हम इस टू द कुकू वाली पोएम का हम थोड़ा सा एक्सरसाइज देखते हैं। इसके टेक्सचुअल क्वेश्चंस देखते हैं। ये टेक्सचुअल क्वेश्चंस क्या बोलते हैं और इनको हम थोड़ा डिस्कस करते हैं। ओके, तो पहला क्वेश्चन जो है इस टेक्स्ट का, आई मीन इस पोएम का, हाउ डज द कुकूज वॉइस चार्म द पोइट। वेरी सिंपल। हमने देखा है कि इस कुकू की आवाज़ जो थी, इट वाज अ डबल शेडेड आवाज, इट वाज अ डबल, you can see it was twofold shout I hear. The poet says that I was able to hear actually the double effect of the cuckoo's voice. Sometimes this voice would come from a very far off place, and sometimes it was heard from very near. जिसकी वजह से he says that's why I was very much fascinated and enticed by the voice of this the bird, I mean the cuckoo. तो इसको यहाँ पे मैंने लिख डाला है आपके लिए. I'll just write read it down. The cuckoo's voice has twofold effect on the mind of the poet, and he hears it as if it passes from hill to hill. Sometimes he hears it far from very far off places, and sometimes very near. तो ये है पहले क्वेश्चन का जवाब कि जिसकी वजह से इसको ये बहुत प्यारी लगती है. द सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज व्हाई डज द पोएट कॉल कुकू वांडरिंग वॉइस डार्लिंग ऑफ द स्प्रिंग. इसमें भी बराबर यही चीज़ें हैं जिसकी वजह से वो इसको वांडरिंग वॉइस कहता है. Why he calls it wandering voice? The poet calls cuckoo wandering voice because it charms him and has occupied his mind right from the beginning. I mean from the childhood. तो पहले से इसका माइंड इसने ऑक्यूपाई कर रखा है. और इसमें क्या खास बात थी? वाई वाज इट सो? The sound sometimes the sound he hears it from far off distances, and sometimes he hears it very near. This is the main thing that is peculiar and particular about the wandering voice. And that's why he calls it a wandering voice, because it was not confined to one side, to one direction. It was it was coming from different directions, and sometimes it used to come from the far off place, and sometimes it sounds to the poet to the very near place. Okay. And then he says, darling of the spring. Why? Because he calls the bird darling of the spring, because it heralds with the bird heralds with spring. Means when the bird comes, it is indicative that the spring is coming, the time of rejuvenation, the time of rebirth, the time of flowers, the time of real life of the trees and plants and the birds, etc., etc. That's why he calls it darling of the spring. And the third question, very important question, he says, which childhood experience does the poet describe in stanza 5 and 6? Okay, let's go back to the 5 and 6 stanzas to see the childhood experience, to see the experience that he happened to that in his childhood he would experience. Okay. This is first stanza, second stanza, third stanza, fourth and fifth and sixth. We will have to see it in here. Okay. A voice, a mystery, the Sam whom in my school days I listened to and cry. He says this the childhood experiences when he was a schoolboy. He was a school going boy in his childhood. When he was a school going boy, he listened to this cry, वो इस आवाज को सुनता था from different places, and which made him look 1,000 ways in bush. And he would go sometimes to see the bird in the bush, and sometimes he would use different ways to see it in bush, and sometimes in the jungles and in the trees, and sometimes coming from the sky. This is one experience here, one of the experiences here that I have written here in here. The poets reminds his childhood days when he hears the voice of cuckoo. He he goes to he he recalls those schoolhood or boyhood days when he would go to place to seek the bird. He says that he would listen the cry of the cuckoo when he would up lie upon the plants. He calls this period of his life the golden age. This is important thing. He calling this period the golden age of his life. The poet is very much involved and looking into the experience that he experienced in his childhood. Thank you very much for today.